So as you mentioned the amaranth and weeds are a problem in all farming. Can you give us your thought on weeds?
So often here, everyone says a weed's definition of a weed is something that's not supposed to be in that particular situation. So in terms of the weeds, the way that I understand nature is that a weed is sent to fix a problem. So I'll give the example of the amaranthus, where I would mow it 5-6 times a season, and this field where we're standing, there's the densest patch behind us, but if you look in the rest of the field, there's virtually none. There's just the odd one. It would be so thick after the 5th mowing that you wouldn't be able to walk through this field without longs on. And I'm told that amaranthus is the best supporter of mycorrhizal fungus. So I'm surmising that at that stage, it was my early days. It's a high nitrate weed, early in succession, very little mycorrhizal fungus. So nature had sent the amaranthus in to try and build that. And what I was doing each time I saw it, I would mow it and mow it and mow it. So it never got a chance to do its job. My philosophy is that I'll leave anything in the pasture as long as it doesn't severely limit the intakes of the cows. So these amaranthus dotted around to me are absolutely no issue at all. They're here, they're fulfilling a purpose, they're doing something. The fields I am mowing, I'm mowing for mchigi, or that Eragrostis plana that you see there in front. You see a couple of them sticking up. By leaving the weed, you've hopefully solved the problem. The more you mow it, the more the weed's going to come, and you're just in this recurring cycle. So this field was planted in May 2023, and we are now February 2024. So that's 8 months. This field has not had a mow. It's been through almost its whole summer cycle. We're heading for autumn, and I'm not going to mow this field again until we plant. So this one, unless something happens in the next 2 months, I'll start planting on the 20th of April. I don't know which field it will be in terms of the cycle, but in all likelihood this field will not have had a mow between plantings, 12 months apart. And at times it was nerve-wracking and it looked terrible, but I think by leaving the weeds, it actually solved the problem. Solving the problem wasn't mowing them. Solving the problem was letting them stay there and do their job and try and keep production up and profitability. This time last year I mowed this field, and the mchigi was thick. It was solid. It was impacting intakes dramatically. Cows are having to worm through to graze the kikuyu. And Nicole Masters did a talk on how the same principle, a weed is sent to find a problem. And it was in America, I can't remember the weed. They had a weed there. She took a leaf sample of the weed and the pasture, and everything was reasonably similar, except I think the boron level in the weed was 10 times what it was in the pasture. So she said the weed sent in to fix the boron level. So they then went and put boron down, and the weed was gone. Now I wonder if the mchigi wasn't sent in to sort out my molly problem. I've put the molly down and it's all gone. Because I hear also farmers say if you've got mchigi you must put phosphate, but my phosphate levels here are 40. So I'm not short of phosphate, but I had mchigi. But whenever you put phosphate down, you release molly, because they're the same charge and they're the same size particle. So the phosphate then takes some of the bonds and releases the molly. So that's one of the ways to make molly available, is to put phosphate down. So people tell me put phosphate, you lose your mchigi. I put molly and my mchigi is gone. So I'm wondering...
And the cost difference there?
Well, I put enough molly for the next 600 years maintenance. So the cost was quite high, but probably about the same as what phosphate would have been.
For 1 year?
For 1 year, yeah. But my molly, it's now fixed. I won't have to do it again.
No, great. And so that fits in with the succession of soils and fungal bacterial ratios. And hopefully when you get to where you want to be, the weeds won't be there. It'll be the plants that you've chosen.
I think the weeds will get less and less while they're proving they are.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll ever be there.
Yeah,
I don't think there's actually a point.
There is no right.
There is no right. It's going to be this continuous thing of looking at what the past is telling me and trying to react and adjust accordingly. Obviously you want to try and get as much production with the best quality for a dairy cow.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the trick.